demonstration of how the sales and inventory software works. Okay, so this is the admin interface, and this is where you add your products, your business locations, your purchases, your stock transfers, your supplier information, your customer information, and then all your other users. So let's start with the product menu. First of all, you come to the list products, and this is where you find the list of products in your system. At the top, we have filters where you can filter through and then get your results. But then here we have the products listed here. It tells you the product name, the location. If maybe you have more than one store or more than one warehouse, you can use the software to keep track of all the products at each location. You have the unit purchase price and then your selling price, your current stock, the category of the products, and then the other tax information, the SKU and all that. So let's start with adding a new product. You click on add product. So here you add your product name, you select the barcode type, and then if you have a barcode scanner, you can just use it to scan your products and then into the system. And we have the category. So over here you enter categories, and then you select if there's a subcategory, and then you select the location. So for instance, you could have a product that sells at one store but doesn't sell at the other store. So when you're adding it into the system, you select the location where it's supposed to go to. So if, for example, you have the same product at your warehouse and you have the same product also at your shop, then you can just select that, and then you select the other one. So assuming this product is for all the locations, we just add it. You come here, you write your description of the product. If there's an image, you can just browse from here, and then you come down. Okay, so here you can add your tax, if there are some taxes that you have, VAT, NHI, COVID levy, any other tax that you want to, and then you select whether it's inclusive or exclusive. Over here too, you select, you enter your purchase price and then your selling price. Then you save and then add opening stock, or you can just save it. Alright, so that's how to add a product into the system. So over here too, you can print labels. So if you want to print maybe a price label or a barcode label, you can use this side to print. Then you can check whether it should show the price or not, or whether it should show the business name or not, and then you can determine which paper to use to print the label. So let's say I select maybe 20 labels. I can do it to print the label. So you can count, and you can see that the number of labels are 50. To print it on an A4 sheet, if that's the type of paper you are using, so you can just print it and then stick it on your product. If it doesn't already have a barcode label. And then over here you can import your products. If you have it in an Excel sheet, you can import opening stock as well for your products. Here you can determine the units, if it's in boxes, if it's in packs, if it's in pieces, if it's in dozens, all those other units you can add them. You can add your categories as well and your subcategories. So this is the place to add it. You can add your brands, and then yes. Then you come to the sales section. So over here you can either add a sale manually through this section, or you can use the POS interface for entering sales. So assuming you want to enter a sale manually, over here you can select the customer. If it's a working customer, then you leave it as such. But if you want to capture the customer information too, then you select the plus button and then you enter the customer information. You can enter the pay terms, the status, if it's a final, if it's a draft, if it's quotation, or it's a pro forma invoice. Then the invoice scheme too can be selected, the invoice number can be selected. You select the products, maybe you're selling maybe a white shirt, maybe there. You enter whether if there's a discount, you can enter that. If there are some taxes that you want to use, you can also enter that. And then if there are any ship delivery details, you can just enter that. And then here you can determine the shipping status, if it's ordered, if it's packed, if it's shipped, if it's delivered, if it's cancelled. You can determine that as well. And then you can add payment information if it's an invoice and it hasn't been paid for, then you can just, or it's a credit sale, then you can enter all those information from here and then save it. You can do a quotation, you can add a quotation over here as well. So it's similar to the sale, but in this case we'll call it a quotation. So you can do your returns as well. In case somebody buys something and they are returning it, you can do that. And then yes, now the purchases is for when maybe you are filling your stock from your supplier. So you can to do that, you click on add purchase, and then you select the supplier that you are buying from. So it will be a China supplier, and then you select the business location where the stock will be credited to. So mostly it's the main warehouse. Then you select the status, if it's received, if you've received your stock, if it's pending or it's ordered. Mostly it's on received, because it's when you receive it that you enter. So then you list all the products that you purchase from your supplier. So let me just list some. Okay, so these are all the things. You can enter the quantities. Usually the quantities are larger because when you're buying from your supplier, it's a large quantity, so you enter the quantities. Okay, and then if you are paying for them too, you can use the section to do it. Then when you're done, you just save it. If there are any additional expenses to you, just use the section to do it. You enter, maybe there was a shipping cost, there was a transport cost, there was other logistics cost. You can enter those, and then the calculations will be done for you. And then you can have a record of it in the system. Now you can do stock transfers also from one location to the other. So you can transfer stock. So let's say add stock transfer. So maybe you want to move stock from your warehouse to your shop, you can use this one to do it. And then you can use the starting status. So let's say if it's pending, if it's in transit, if it's completed too, you change the status. So assuming you are now sending it, you can put it on pending. When it moves, you can say in transit, and then when it's completed, you click on completed. There's location from, so let's say I'm sending it from my warehouse to the shop. Then I say in transit. Then I select which products I'm moving to the shop from the warehouse. So we have legal, and then this. Okay, and I'm moving maybe 12 pieces, and I'm moving maybe this one 15. Okay, 16. So that's the calculation of total amount. If there are any charges, you just enter them. Okay, then you save it. At least then you've done a stock transfer. You can use stock adjustments to make certain stock adjustments. In case maybe you have broken products or broken items, then you can just adjust the stock. Then the contacts, you can add your supplier contacts, your customer contacts, your customer groups, and all that. And then the users are the people who use the software. So often we have roles. So the role, you can determine what a certain user can do. So with this, we have the admin, the cashier, and then the shop owner. You can have a shop manager, a warehouse manager, and then just assign them certain roles. So with this, let's say for example the cashier. When you click on edit role, you can see that the cashier has set roles that they can perform, and those are the ones that's checked. So the cashier only has access to the POS section where they can view, they can add, they can edit, and then they can delete. Okay, and then they have access to the cash register as well, which is the view and then close cash register. And those are the only functions they can perform. So once you, the main admin, assigns them a specific function, that's the only thing they can do in the system. Okay, so we come to the expense section where you can list expenses and then add certain expenses. You can have expense categories, maybe utility bills, personal, any other category that you want to. Then you come to the reports. So over here we have the profits and loss reports, we have the product purchase reports, we have the expense reports, and all the other reports that you need, stock reports, tax reports, and an activity log. So when you come to activity log, it will give you when all the users logged in, what they did, when they logged in, when they logged out, what activity they performed. So with this, you can keep track of all your users, and then at least you can use it for later reference. Then you come to the settings, and at this side you add your tax rates. So we've added the COVID levy, we have the NHIL, and then we have the VAT. And then combining them, it becomes a total tax. So the sub-taxes, which is the COVID levy, the NHIL, and VAT, become the total tax. And this is what we use in the calculation. Maybe your figures might be different. So when yours is set up, you can just change it, and then use the variables that might work for you. And then over here, you can add your business locations as well. So assuming you have more than one shop or warehouse, you can add all of them here. And then in case you are not using one, you can just deactivate it. You can always edit it and then continue from there. Okay, so we have a calculator tool here where you can use it to calculate. So in case you need to do a quick calculation, you can have a calendar where you are entering your things that you need to do at any point. So let's try with the POS interface. Now the POS interface is for making sales. So assuming a customer walks in and is buying something, use the POS interface to make a sale. You can either select the image here or just scan. So let's say I'm looking for a bigger. Okay, then the product appears. The quantity, maybe you're buying 3. It does the calculations for you. And then over here, the tax has been done already. So you just go to proceed to payment. And then the amount the customer is paying. So maybe they are supposed to pay 64, but maybe they gave you 70 cedis. So you enter 70 cedis here. The payment method was either cash, bank, advance. So let's say cash. So here it tells you that the change you're supposed to give them is 5.59. And then this is the total payable, and the total paid is 70. That means they paid 70 Ghana cedis, and then they are supposed to, the amount they owe is 64.41. So then the balance is 5.59, and that's what the cashier will give to the. So you just click on finalize payment, and then you can print the receipt. So this is the receipt. You can print it. It will appear well on any thermal printer. A receipt printer should work. Then you just print it out. Okay. Yeah, so this is how the software works. It's very simple to use. And so over here, you can just click on view, edit, print invoice, pack slipping, view payments, duplicate, sale, return. So in case somebody buys something they just want to return, you just come and click here and you just return it. And in case you want to print a label for that particular product, you can just use this section to do that.